Welcome to this special budget episode of Investors Hangout. This is brought to you by Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund. And with me is Dhirendra Kumar, CEO, Value Research. Dhirendra, welcome.
Thank you.
So the budget is out, Dhiren, and starting with the big announcement about this tax exemption that has been offered to rupees 5 lakh earners. But I think there has been some misinterpretation about it. Can you please clarify for our viewers what this exemption is and who would benefit from it?
Yeah, there is a little bit of confusion about it, but investors should not, or taxpayers should not get confused about it. The confusion is arising because every time we think that there is a tax relief on income tax from government, it can happen only by way of increasing the slab.
Yes.
So if the slab was at 2.5 lakh rupee, if it has not gone up, then where is the relief? But there is another provision. You get rebate, and there is a provision like that even before, which is at work, which is our tax slab is at 2.5 lakh rupees. If you earn less than 2.5 lakh rupees, you don't pay taxes. But if you earn 3 lakh rupees, you are liable for 2,500 rupees of taxes. And government enabled a rebate of 2,500 rupees. So if you earn 3 lakh rupees in this financial year, 18-19, if you earn 3 lakh rupees, you will show your income as 3 lakh rupees. Your tax liability will be 2,500 rupees. Government has enabled 2,500 rupees rebate, so your tax bill is zero. Now that 2,500 rupees has been increased to 12,500 rupees, which means that today if your taxable income, now there is a difference between income and taxable income. You are eligible for a lot of deductions. The deduction is under section 8TC. The deduction is under the amount that you earn by way of interest. Earlier it was 10,000 rupees, now it has been increased to 40,000 rupees. The investment that you make in NPS up to 50,000 rupees, the exclusive provision, or the interest that you pay on your housing loan, these are exempt. These are deductibles possible. So if you earn 8 lakh rupees, and if you do these deductions, 1.5 lakh rupees on account of ATC, or whether you make investment in ELSS or EPF or whatever, 50,000 in NPS, then so after all these deductions, if your income falls below 5 lakh rupees, you are not supposed to pay tax because your tax bill will be 12,500 rupees, and 12,500 rupees is that rebate enabled by the government. So your tax bill becomes zero. This has the ramification that people in the higher tax bracket, they will not be eligible for this. When you increase the tax slab is progressive. That if I earn 20 lakh rupees, so on my first 2.5 lakh rupees, I pay nothing. Then on the next amount, I pay X%. Then on the subsequent amount, I pay Y%.
Yeah.
And then if it crosses a certain threshold, then there is also a cess and a surcharge.
True.
So you pay much higher but it is an incremental thing. On the initial amount you pay less, then subsequent amount you pay more, and on the even subsequent amount you pay much higher and even more by way of cess and surcharge. So this does not affect. So if you earn more than 5 lakh rupees, there is absolutely no relief to you. But this 5 lakh rupees exemption to your income, of taxable income, is a huge relief because the taxpayer base has gone up. This is going to benefit nearly 3 crore investors, 3 crore taxpayers. So the government in an election year has tried to benefit as large a number as possible through this.
Sure. And not only that, I guess people who are, let's say, earning up to rupees 6.5 lakh, there's a huge incentive for them to exhaust their ATC limit because the tax differential is huge for them, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. This is the problem of any slab system. If you are at zero tax up to a certain threshold and you immediately cross that, you will be liable for a big hit. Yeah. So everybody will work very hard. If somebody was somehow willing to take the tax bill by not investing or not getting under the threshold, now there will be a huge incentive to do that. People will work very hard to exhaust all the possible deductions so that they even if somebody is earning 7.5 lakh rupees, I think he will work very hard so that, and it is a legitimate thing, it has been enabled by the government.
Yeah.
One should try and exhaust as much as possible so that you can fall below the threshold limit of taxation.
Sure. And for other earners, other salary earners, the increase in the standard deduction is by and large what they get, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's a small relief, the standard deduction going up marginally, but this is not significant. It is unlikely to reduce, but whatever comes your way. Um, and I don't think, even if it would have been meaningful, it is unlikely to alter. If you look at the higher tax bracket, even if this 5 lakh rupees exemption came by way of tax slab, if it was an increase in tax slab, I don't think it would have, made a meaningful difference to those people's tax bills.
Sure. And how significant is the exemption on second self-occupied house?
It was interesting because, as the finance minister in his speech said, that is the way it happens. A lot of times, the way the families are evolving, or sometimes you sell your asset and you actually acquire two of them. Also, the second house could be a reality for, different reason that you want, to pass on to your children. And that is very much an Indian framework where parents are operated. But I think, one should, as we keep saying at Value Research, that don't be guided by your tax incentive for your investment decision. We keep saying that, don't mix anything with anything else. Don't mix insurance with investment or tax saving with investment, because
Yes.
you get disoriented. You lack objectivity. You are not focused on, focus on the core. Your investment should be the best possible investment for the short run. Your investment should be the best possible investment for the long run. Your tax saving investment, depending on whether it is your short term requirement or long term liquidity needs, you should choose the appropriate tax saving alternative. So never think in terms of buying a house, because it's a big decision, and it is a big. I think it will also be a big mistake, because buying a house requires so many other things. One is that pay for it and definitely get that house. Make sure that you have the bandwidth. Then make sure that you have the money. Make sure that you're not borrowing beyond a point so that it can leave you. It can cause distress.
Sure.
Then comes, but I think one should look at this exemption or this relief purely in a simple way, that if you have a second house, feel happy about it. You got a break. You got some relief. But don't think of it in terms of a trigger for your investment decision in a house.
Yeah. So as you always say, only buy a house, the one that you're going to
The
live
one
in.
that you're going to live in. Because the payoffs are substantial. One is the emotional comfort of owning a house. The other is that you save the rent. The third is that, for many people, that itself becomes the only way to accumulate something meaningful.
Yeah.
You are forced to save, because whatever we say, that do your SIP, be regular, be disciplined. But you are going to be very disciplined about your EMI payments.
Absolutely.
You can't do without it.
Yeah.
So it is actually a forced accumulation. But more importantly, housing loan is the only thing, because you are incurring a cost on your borrowing, and you are in an asset which is potentially increasing. If it is not even if it is not potentially increasing, it is able to save you on the rent, which is almost like a dividend income, which is like an income or saving of income. So you have half of it taken care of if you live in that house. The remaining half, the gain potential, even if it doesn't work out, assuming that the worth of the house that you buy remains constant, but you continue to enjoy that house by living in it, you really won't care about it. So don't look at it as an investment till you are enjoying it. And if it appreciates, and if you can actually encash it at some point, and it can provide you an asset backup, or safety net, good for you.
Sure. Now, how disappointed are you that the long-term capital gain tax on equities has not gone away, or at least the indexation benefit should have been provided?
I'm not disappointed,
Okay.
because generally, I did not expect much from this budget. So what has come our way is quite exciting. Not only that, the budget has, we are talking of a very narrow area of the budget in terms of personal finance, investment tax, and our expectation on the long-term capital gains exemption. I'm not disappointed, because generally the budget has done a lot of things for increasing consumption and increasing investment. Not only that, I think, there are clear symptoms of we becoming a good country. The surge in the number of taxpayers, nearly 4 crore to 7 crore. So, that actually is quite inspiring. The scale of direct tax mobilization, that is very significant. That is almost twice as much, 6 to 12 lakh crore. That I think is a very forward looking. That is, and that has supported all the kind of things that we are witnessing. Rising budget. I could not have, it has taken 70 years to have as many taxpayers. And it has taken 5 years to have as many taxpayers as well. So this is quite awe-inspiring. Then, the scale of investment that will happen, the spread of, spending, the kind of social scheme that has been enabled. Not only that, I think, our belief in all these benefits, I think, many of these benefits, many of this redistribution, that has been the spirit of the government all through. The DBT, the bank account. And so for ordinary taxpayers, I feel very happy that if the government is announcing that it's going to give 3,000 rupee to a farmer, then he's going to actually deliver it in his bank account. Without the fellow going to the block development officer to get his signature and actually lose the money halfway. So the ability to deliver all these things, that I think is, very, very nice. Long-term capital gains, yes, we were pretending that, it should happen, but it is very unlikely. It is unreasonable to expect that it will, because it unlikely to expect that it will happen in an election year. Two reasons for that. The government does not want to see, of course, there is a valid reason why long-term capital gain should be abolished. It is misplaced. It is wrong in a country where most people do not invest in equity, and this is the only meaningful way to attract equity, where the country needs a lot of capital. So in that sense, and India has largely been a fixed income country. Everybody is inclined to fixed income. So it will be reasonable to do that. But at the same time, politically it becomes very difficult, because long-term capital gains tax abolition will look like helping benefiting the rich. Benefiting the rich is something which any government would like to be least seen as, even if it is right. I was little hopeful, because this government has been very proactive in admitting to mistakes, in terms of the way the GST changes happened in the last 15 months. That I think is quite inspiring. The government changes and revises everything every month. Everything is up for review. That I think, so I thought that, okay, long-term capital gains. Not only that, I think it will be a major boost to the market in terms of sentiment. And I'm not talking about the rationality of it. I think it's a bad tax to have. It should be abolished. But at the same time, I think, this was not the appropriate time. And long-term capital gains, without indexation, all these things, it is taxing, it is cumbersome. I was expecting one more thing, which did not materialize, and it would have been a non-financial thing, and it can happen only with clarification or announcement, with a procedural enablement, which is simplifying investments. The KYC for small investors or any investor in mutual fund, where investments happen only through a bank and the proceeds get back into a bank. That needs to be simplified. All the market transaction where bank account, moving the money from the bank account is mandatory, should be completely exempt from KYC procedures. We need to, if it amounts to tweaking the Money Laundering Act, so be it. Because in this country, buying gold or buying any other asset, or buying chocolate is simple. Making investment which is good for the nation building, it's very complex. And this is one thing which will actually simplify.
Sure. Let's hope we get that sometime in future.
Yeah, I hope that this was an interim budget, and we should. It will be. I'll be hopeful that we get it.
Absolutely. Any concluding message for savers and investors, Dhiren?
No, we are progressing. We are rapidly evolving as a country, and this budget, though despite not having too much of expectation in election year, this does not look like an irresponsible budget, because if there would have been they have worked on the fiscal deficit targets, and they're reasonably adhering to it.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have to wait for the fine print. That's how all this is happening. Is there a catch? But looks like it's a very well thought out budget. It is not trying to do something which is completely out of whack in an election year, which will take the fiscal completely out of it becomes completely unmanageable, and leave it for some other government to take care of it. No, I think they have acted responsibly. lot of things that happened that have been announced, it was not expected. And addressing big constituents, farmers are in distress that needs to be addressed, and addressing them in a meaningful manner, explaining the and but I was very impressed with the statistics revealed in terms of we are growing as a nation financially.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing your views, Dhiren. That's all from us. Thanks for watching.